So Anna, where are you from around? Did you grow up in the Lakes area?
I grew up in Pelican Rapids the majority of my life. We lived in Moorhead until I was in 3rd grade, I think. And then we moved out to South Lida in Pelican. And I hated it because we went from Moorhead, where there was like so much to do.
Sure.
And then to Pelican, where we're out in the country. And I thought, oh, this is so boring. And so what did I do? You know, I graduated from college, got married, and moved back to Pelican. So
surprise, surprise.
I know.
Now, do your kids say? Do you have?
We
children?
don't have kids.
Okay, I was going to ask you that before even.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, my
dogs.
dogs.
Four-legged.
Yep.
Kids.
2 Cavalier King Charles dogs. Thor and Thug.
Of course. Perfect names.
Yeah. So my husband is from Holly.
Okay.
And so when we first started dating, he was living in Holly too. It was family business. So neither one of us made it very far from home.
Yeah. You're needed.
Yeah.
This is where you're supposed
to be.
Yeah.
It all works out.
Right.
So
you don't always have to leave.
No.
You know, sometimes just leaving to get away, to appreciate some of the simpler things that real life does give.
I think that really was true for me, you know, living in Moorhead, living in Fargo. And then, like we were chatting about earlier, when I graduated from college and had some more free time, you know, since I didn't have so much schoolwork and everything. And I thought, God, it'd be nice to be at the lake and, you know, doing some of that stuff I took for granted when I was growing up. So, we all made it back home.
I was in Australia this past winter, and the gentleman that I met there, he's in his 30s. He's single, but he was the tour director. And he's like, what do you do when it's like 20 below? And I said, well, I mean, you just put on, you know, your warm clothes.
Yeah.
You know how to do it, you know, boots and stuff. And then you get to go walk out on water.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. You know, and he just he could not wrap his head around and understand what we could do in the tundra. Is in his words.
Right. Well, there are times when it's the worst of the worst. And, you know, where I do question why, what the heck are we doing here?
Listen.
I'm much more of a summer weather Minnesotan than a cold weather.
Well, I said, this is why I'm here in Australia during the worst part of the
exactly.
I say it's God's country in Minnesota in the summer.
Yep.
It gets a little
long. In the winter.
Sketchy. It does. It does. But you just, I don't know, you just adapt.
Well, and that's the thing. When you don't really know it any other way, you just deal and know that the summer will come eventually.
Yeah. So I have to ask you now, you've been with the Crisis Center. How did you ever get into that? What was the ticket for you to get into? When I think of like the crisis, well, obviously crisis center. I mean, there's always going to be some sort of a crisis. And typically people like want to run. Yeah. You know, when there's a fire, the firemen run in. You know, we all run out. Yeah. So these types of situations, when I think about the crisis center, you know, there's going to be abuse and just, you know, a lot of volatile emotions and feelings at that time. Generally, people are like, I'm out. Yeah. I'm in. Yeah. So what makes what makes you tick?
Yeah. Well, I was in some pretty crummy relationships. One that started in high school. And looking back, I see all of the things, you know, now that I didn't know.
Right.
Got out of that relationship, and then in college, I met someone who I ended up staying with for 5 years, who was quite abusive, verbally, emotionally, physically, and I was afraid to leave. And I didn't know that there were any resources to help. I mean, I just thought you just figure it out or you just deal, you know.
I'm going to stop you right there. Yeah. Why, when you're in that moment, when you're in and you know this is not good, this is not what you signed up for with this individual. Yeah. And you said, your words were, I didn't realize that there was, or I didn't know that there was resources. Did you even know, you knew there was an issue? So was it that you didn't have like family? Didn't you feel comfortable with it? Tell me a little bit about that spot right there.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem
Right.
we all have when we're in that moment.
Yep.
You knew it. How did you know it? And then why did you feel like there wasn't anything there?
Well, a couple things. I knew I didn't like the relationship anymore. The first 2 years were great.
Sure.
Were great.
Yeah. Like always.
Right. So typical. So it's like
Yeah.
I knew it was possible
Sure.
to, you
Sure.
know, to feel
Yeah.
good like that again.
Yeah.
In the back of my head, I knew I'm not going to live like this forever. But I
Okay.
had no idea
Okay.
what that meant or how to
Okay.
navigate that.
Sure.
He had me convinced that my family loved him and adored him and would not believe me. And they did love and adore
Sure,
him. And
right.
so did my friends.
Sure.
You know, I tried breaking up several times. He would always, you know, show up at work, show up at my apartment. So sorry.
Was it by love bombing or was it by intimidation that he'd get you back? Or like,
Not really even intimidation.
Okay.
It was more like, okay, yeah, that you probably didn't really mean it. And,
okay.
you know, and
Okay.
because those good times and the potential for that good, you know, it's still in the
Yeah.
back of your mind,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And then I remember calling my parents one night and saying, I've got to leave.
Okay.
This is it.
Okay.
And
What was their response?
I don't think they took it very seriously.
Okay.
I think they just thought they're young,
Okay.
whatever. At that time I was probably 21, 22.
They're
something
having
like
a little spat of some sort or whatever, and
Yep.
they'll work through it. Okay.
Yep. And so my dad and my parents, very supportive, you know. So if I repeat some things that my dad said, it's purely out of his lack of understanding the cycle of abuse at the time.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to catch too is that this isn't always, but sometimes people come from abusive homes and go right into abusive relationships.
Yeah.
So the fact that you had a home, you know, and that you felt safe and comfortable going back, you know, to the home life.
Yeah.
That really speaks volumes, you know, already.
Right.
So,
and I'm fortunate because I had a place I could
in
go
that
to.
perspective, yes.
And not everyone does.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, in the phone conversation with my dad that night, he said, well, Anna, just sit down and have a nice, calm conversation.
Sure.
And
Right.
I thought,
Yeah. Done that, did that.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he happened to be out with some friends at the time. And when he got home, I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. And
This is it.
Yep. This is it. And he got so angry, proceeded to flipping tables, spitting in my face, holding me down.
Oh my.
I was able to, and just yelling at me. And so I was able to call my dad again. And I'm like, can you hear him? Can you hear what he's saying? He's spitting in my face. And my dad said, well, I didn't mean tonight if he was out drinking.
Okay.
So,
okay.
like, oh, alrighty.
Sent you a message.
Yep.
Ouch.
But yeah, and like I said, I mean, ouch now.
Ouch.
But I don't, he didn't get it.
Yeah,
I don't think he
understand.
got
Right. Yeah.
like what he
Yeah.
was. So, you know, so it's like, okay, you're saying that this is my fault? You know, that
Right. He wasn't, but that's how
He
you
wasn't.
perceived it.
Right.
Yep.
And I thought, okay, we gotta figure out a plan B.
Okay.
I
I have to stop you. You are
Yeah.
an extremely, incredibly strong person. By even, well, you know this.
Yeah.
I mean, because of situations.
Yeah.
So when you're talking, you're an extremely to do that,
Yeah.
to face it for one, then to call for help, and then get kind of, it was directly kind of a hit. I mean, for you to not probably proceed with what you think you should be doing.
Right.
Unbeknownst to your dad, probably at the time.
Right.
But I mean, to keep pressing forward.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Keep pressing forward.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, I knew I didn't want to live like that for the rest of my life. But,
I understand.
I didn't know. I was running out of ideas, quite frankly. It was like, I got to figure out another way.
Did you fear for your life at times?
At times.
Literally, you were going to die at the hands of?
At times, I thought, I don't think he'd even care.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had bought me an engagement ring. And I had gotten in a car accident in his truck, a pickup that he had just gotten back from having the brakes worked on or something. Yeah. And there was kind of black ice on the way up to Fargo. And I rolled 3 times and ended up in the median on the roof. There was, saw blades in the truck. And by the grace of God, I walked out. I mean, the first person to arrive on the scene was an EMS staff member on his way home from his shift.
My God.
Yeah. And so I ended up in the ER.
If you don't catch those graces in life, we're missing the whole point of life. So yes,
it was
absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah.
But he was so mad at me that the truck.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't come and pick me up from the ER.
Gosh.
And when I first got there, I couldn't remember anything. They put me in traction.
Okay.
And I couldn't remember my phone number. I couldn't remember anything. So anyway, he finally
fiance truck.
Right. And it was a crappy truck.
Man, I love you. You got some fire. That's good. That's good.
So he was withholding the engagement ring from me.
Okay.
So
sure.
Okay. And then, but thankfully that kind of
solidified it for you.
Right. And so I found out he was going to be going on a fishing trip over a weekend. Yeah. And so I called my parents and I'm like, this is it. Yeah. He's going to be gone. I'm moving everything out. Yeah. Can you be here on Saturday morning? And so that night, and I had this little teeny car. So I had my car just packed. And most of the stuff in the apartment that we shared at the time was mine. So both my parents came up in our little pickup and a car, and I had everything lined up in the hallway of the apartment.
Ready to
and
go.
I'm like, just let's go.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I moved back in with them for, I don't know, it's probably like a month or two, before I could find an apartment. And I remember waking up on Monday morning knowing that he would have got back the night before. And I just, it was probably a bad reaction. I was just laughing hysterically, thinking of him walking in. And all of the stuff is gone. It's like, good luck sitting on the floor, sucker.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
yeah,
I did it.
Yep.
I did it.
Did he ever reach out to you?
Yes.
He did. Okay. How'd that go?
Actually, he reached out because we had a dog.
Oh, sure.
And the dog had gotten hit by a car.
That weekend?
No, not that weekend. Later.
Okay.
No, he'd be way too stubborn to try. Like, I bamboozled him on this one.
Okay.
Like, I got him.
Okay.
Okay. And so, no.
Okay.
Way too arrogant to call me back at that point. Because I think as far as he was concerned when he left, like there wasn't a big blow up or dust up,
right before or anything like that. Yeah, everything's fine. And so I get it. I got it.
So and so fast forward a few years and I'm graduating from college and my degree's in psychology. And so
so you were learning about this stuff. Yeah. So
I'm subliminally I'm thinking that was probably one of the reasons I went in, got the education that I did. And so then, of course, I'm around a lot of like-minded individuals. I meet some amazing professors who are also in private practice
Mm.
and, learn about the.
Wow, you had it right at your fingertips. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I learned about the resources that were available.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I thought, gosh, if I would have known some of this stuff even in high school, I could have prevented, a lot of these, a lot of the struggles, for myself. And so that was kind of, in the back of my mind that I, wanted to somehow
Right.
be a part
Yep.
of, there be education, a resource for someone else.
Yeah.
And so, being an on-call crisis advocate, going through that training and everything, it was very eye-opening to me as well, because I lived with a lot of shame.
Right.
That,
Why is that? Why is it that the person that is abused has the shame?
I know.
What is that?
Yeah.
Tell me.
And I think for me, it was, God, you're so weak. Like, how could you be just, stay away,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And then how can you not have seen the signs? And how could you let so many things go,
So is shame like, could that be like a regret too? Kind of like a regret, upset, angry kind of?
Yeah, I think they can all be
intertwined. Okay.
A bit of embarrassment.
Sure. Right.
Quite frankly, it's like, I felt like I came from a good family.
You should have known better. Sure.
Like,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Why didn't I see some signs?
Right.
Why did I poo-poo so many things away, that I could have just walked right away.
But like you said, it was the first 2 years. Is that's a master manipulator?
Yeah.
Is what that is.
Well, and that's the thing too, where there's some shame, and it's like, I know you're capable. You're capable of treating me well.
Right.
I know that. You're choosing.
Yep.
Right. And so the fact that I know that, but yet I'm still here, it's like, it's embarrassing.
Right. Right.
It's like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But like I said, it's led me to where I am.
Right. But I was just going to say, I think you just did it so perfectly. You laid that out so perfectly because you're vulnerable. You're being honest, exactly how it was.
Yeah.
That is how all of us, no matter what form it is, if you can get out of there and then, have some time to reflect, you're just like,
yeah,
I am intelligent, I'm educated, or, maybe you're not, you should have seen, should have saw the warning, should have saw the red flags, and you don't, but you just said it perfectly about how I think a lot of people that struggled with any form of abuse at the hands of somebody feels some
shame, and it's a tough thing to navigate, like you said, whatever the form of abuse was, whether it's physical, domestic violence, child abuse, sexual assault, mental, it's hard to have all of those feelings and emotions coexisting at the same time, feeling thankful because it's not happening anymore and I'm in a much better place, feeling, but still ashamed, confused, angry, and those can all manifest in different ways.
And it can be kind of all at the same time too, because you also said, yes, I did it.
Yeah.
And you have strength in that too.
Yeah.
So, do you look back kind of and sometimes think, all right, I'm okay. I'm happy that I did go through that because it makes me who I am today. And your position about being able to understand.
Yeah.
This conversation right here, is difficult for people that haven't been in it to understand it, to wrap their head around it.
Yeah.
And I think once somebody has been through something like that, just like if you haven't been through, a divorce or a death or starting your own business or an occupation. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So this conversation, the fact that you do go in and not out when there's a situation that's a crisis of any kind, perhaps that's what you had to go through.
Right.
So that you could be who you are today.
Right. Right. And yeah, for that, like, I don't have regrets. I really don't have anger. I don't like all of that is, because as you said, it's brought me to where I am. It's given me a different, understanding. I've had a lot of people say, and say this to our staff too, like, oh, I could never do what you do.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear
And they
those
can't.
stories.
Yeah.
Right.
And they probably can't.
And the thing is, I'm like, I know too much.
Right.
I can't not do something.
Right. Sure.
Once I know it's happening, I can't, it's just me. Now I have to. It's like, you told me something was happening to you.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
And I just.
Yeah. You have you have an enormous amount of empathy.
Thank you.
Because of that too.
Yeah.
Which is it's a good thing, but also for you, it's not much fun, I'm sure.
No. I've got a few things in my office just reminding me, as I leave, like, don't take this home.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And every once in a while I gotta read it and go through everything because it can be so hard. And pretty soon, and I'm a note maker and a list maker and a journaler. Yeah. And so I've got journals all over the house. And I'll start making my own, journal or just making some notes. And then pretty soon, before you know it, like, I wonder if I told her we could do, and pretty soon I'm right back down, right back at work. But I just, it's hard to shut it off.
Yeah. You mentioned the word anger. So, can you tell me a little bit how you process that? Because I'm sure there was anger. You can't say, I don't have anger, but you can say, I don't have anger anymore.
Yeah.
But you had the anger. How did you work through that? Because I think, and for my situation too, I had an enormous amount of anger.
Oh, I bet.
The other thing too is the word forgiveness.
Yeah.
People throw that out all the time. You just need to forgive. I am still kind of hot when I hear that.
Yeah.
I'm past. I mean, that's been 20 years ago. I'm, on to other things. So I don't even think about that. But I remember like people saying, you just need to, forgive and forget. I'll tell you a little bit how my view is on that, but I want to hear your view because you deal with so many different people in situations.
And, and I've worked in different parts of the crisis center too. So I've worked with the perpetrators as well. Which,
boy, that's an interesting take.
That was challenging at first, but I also learned a lot.
Yep.
I learned a lot.
Yep.
Because I hadn't been on that side.
Sure.
And learning about what their family was like and what they grew up with and understanding a little bit more of what made them tick. And so I think from that perspective, as it pertains to forgiveness, because, not making excuses, but understanding how someone could turn into or create the same lifestyle that they grew up in and hated.
Yeah. And now they're doing it.
And and hating themselves too.
Yep.
No, that's not the case for everyone.
Not everybody.
But forgiveness, if that's what feels good for you, great. I think I just don't think it's a one size fits all. I couldn't now I can.
Sure. Right.
Because I don't care.
Right.
And it's like it's such a thing of the past that really doesn't hurt me anymore.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But if someone is still dealing with after effects, whether it be physical, emotional, do they have to forgive? I don't know. And I know some people will talk about their religion, as it pertains to forgiveness. I just think it's so personal. I don't think I would ever advise someone
to say something like that.
To just,
to somebody that's struggling with some sort of an abuse.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think if it feels right for you, if you're in a place where you could, you feel that that's appropriate, great. But, you can use, anger doesn't have to be such a negative thing either. I used my anger at the time. I was busy. I mean, I got
got to work. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And that was how I was gonna deal with it. Now, is that right? I don't know.
Sure.
Worked for me at the time.
It worked for you to process it.
Yep.
So this is my take on so many different things in life. I've applied this, but it really came to me, for me, the sexual abuse that I went through at the hands of my dad. I was very angry. For me, it was a little bit different because it was at the hands when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, that's when it came out.
Yeah.
That's when I didn't, that particular day, I didn't want it to come out, but it came out.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, it wasn't just the abuse, it was the way that my family handled it, that it was me and it was my fault. And so without getting into all of that detail right now, I just want to go back to that anger that I dealt with at the time and for years to process, not only the abuse from my dad, but then my own mother, that knew about it, and then siblings, that literally took the stand against me. It just kind of it wasn't just the abuse, it was all of the pain that had come with it when I brought it out and opened it up. That was some serious pain I had to deal with.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
It was very difficult. There was no doubt about it. It was it was probably, I lost my husband 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And when I compare those two very traumatic events in my life, they're very comparable.
Oh, I bet.
They're very comparable. It was very sad with Brad and the grieving. I wasn't dealing with anger. There might have been different emotions I was dealing with, but the trauma that happened to me was very equivalent. So, and losing your spouse, when you do your own business together, you're just, we were together 24/7. So, I mean, that was an extremely traumatic event. The only way this is how I did it, and it's the only way I can figure it out, is I had to process every emotion on my own time. If it was anger, then it was anger. And I had every right to feeling that anger. And it was my anger. It was my emotion. Then when I was extremely sad to accept a childhood that had sexual abuse in it, the way that I had it, my childhood was a false childhood.
Yeah.
It was, so accepting that
Right.
took a lot of time and to process it. And it was no different than when I lost my husband too, it just takes time to process it, to accept it. I think there's a shock, so then you have to, then when you start getting up in the morning and, he would always make coffee, life happened, and it was the reality of,
it's never going to be the same.
He's never coming back.
Yeah.
He's not going to greet me. He's not going to, when I wake up, put my arm over, there's nobody there.
Yeah.
So I think you process it and you have to accept reality. And for any abuse victim, I don't care if it's, sexual or if it's domestic, alcohol, home that's abusive in any way, for children, I think when you come to terms with reality is when you can maybe say, okay, there might be some forgiveness.
Right.
Perhaps. And it's on your terms when it
Right.
happens. I remember specifically, people just would say, you just need to forgive. You just need to forgive,
Yeah.
particularly my abusers.
Family? Yeah.
But there was a few other ones, that did it, and they mixed it up, for forgiveness and forgetting is no. You can forgive, but that's personally with your own self, how you
Right.
process it, how you work through it. And however long that takes, that's up to
Yeah.
that individual. It's very personal.
Very personal. And it's for the individual, not the perpetrator.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
for you.
Yes. Yeah. And people, that's so cliche. People always say that, but it's like, how? How do you do that when you have such anger and bitterness and hatred? I mean, this can be a lifetime.
Yeah.
This can be an entire childhood that was destroyed.
Right.
And you're telling me you want me to forgive?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right. And feeling like you got robbed.
Yeah.
And
then there's going to be things just like when people talk about death, they say there'll be like a wave. Or I remember specifically, I was in Australia and it's been 3.5 years and it was just the most beautiful view.
Yeah.
In Auckland, actually it was Auckland, New Zealand. And it just hit me like Brad's. I wish he would have been here. And you never know when those times are going to come.
Going to hit you.
No different than abuse. When those times come, you've got to weather it. You've got to work through it, be it journaling, calling a friend, talking to somebody about it. You don't just shove it on. It's never going to go away if you keep shoving it under a rug or, trying to like, okay, I'm going to just manhandle this feeling, this anger or this sadness. You're never going to make that. This is me personally.
Yeah. Well, it's going to manifest itself in some way.
Somewhere.
So it may come out in some other way that you don't want it to, but it's not acknowledging it isn't going to help. It'll postpone.
Right. And then it could flare up as something else. And you can't even identify it because it flared up totally, different.
Right. Right. In a situation that had nothing to do with what you're actually angry about, and we see a lot of that in the shelter too. And especially with some of the kids in our shelter and, and some of the moms will say, I can't figure out what he's so angry about. Like, well, I can tell you, you guys have been living in chaos.
Sure. But that's hard to identify. You can see it, but it's hard to identify for mom.
Right.
I suppose.
Who's already feeling overwhelmed, questioning herself, And one thing I think too, leaving a relationship like that, there still is a sense of loss kind of, because it's like, even though it wasn't 100% functional, it certainly wasn't healthy, they still lost a partner.
Right. Right.
So, it's complicated.
It is very complicated.
And so and I think that's why, when I referenced earlier my dad and thinking like, God, that's a really stupid thing to say, Dad. Unless you've been through it, or are very close with someone who's been through, some sort of abuse, work in an environment, or really have educated yourself, because there are so many intricacies that play out, that can manifest themselves. So, I feel like when, when you have the experience, like you're so bravely sharing about yourself, sharing it and giving it a platform. So, maybe someone will recognize in themselves.
Sure.
Like just one thing too, that when we were talking about anger with my work, that is probably the thing that I have to keep in check. That makes me the most angry is when a parent knows and doesn't do anything or helps cover it up.
Sure. Right.
That to me is unforgivable.
Yeah.
I've seen it so much, and it makes me so angry. You're in a position to protect an innocent child, and to not do that,
Mm-hmm.
and even to
Enable.
enable,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
just think it's so incredibly selfish.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
really makes me
Mm-hmm.
angry.
Is it selfish? And I don't know. I'm just throwing
Mhm.
this out. Is it selfish, or is it just a sense of security that that's all they know?
Yeah.
So they don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Could it be all kind of
I think it depends on the
situation?
the
Okay,
dynamics.
sure.
I've
Okay.
seen some where the mother is so does not want to lose the husband
Sure.
partner
Sure.
that the thought of reporting and
Mhm.
possibly breaking up the
Mhm.
family is not
That
not going to go
outweighs
there.
that outweighs what
Yep.
the child
I
is.
would rather
Okay.
be with you
Okay.
than make sure that my child,
Okay.
you know, gets
Mhm.
the justice and protection and
Wow.
everything else.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that
Mhm.
get to me.
Mhm. Totally understandable.
Yeah. Well, because the thing is, it's like I've been there long enough now
Right.
too. And it's like, I'm going to see your kid
Mhm.
in 15 years,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and I've been there long enough now that I have seen that.
Yes.
And it's so frustrating
Yeah.
because it's like,
Yeah.
called it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
if there could have been some
Mhm.
intervention
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
the abuse
Mhm.
was recognized,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
it, yeah, because like we said, it'll manifest it
Mhm.
in other
It
ways,
always
whether it
does.
be crime,
Yep.
abuse of their
Yep.
own, you
Yep.
know, drug use,
Yep. And the
you
cycle
name it.
continues.
And so it goes.
And so it goes.
Yep.
If you don't stop it, there's something, and I'm sure you know this. Family dysfunction rolls down from generation to generation until one person in one generation stands and faces the flames and spares the generations to come, or something on that. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's powerful.
it is. It's very powerful.
Mhm.
And I think what we were talking about with before, going through the shame
Mhm.
that people. Um, I have a tough time with saying victim. I don't
I
ever
know.
want to be a victim. So I think that's like poor me. So I don't. So what's another word I can
We
use?
say survivor.
A survivor. Okay,
Mhm.
a survivor. When we go through whatever it is, any type of mental, emotional, physical, sexual abuse,
Mhm.
when we make it out, a lot of times when I run into people, it's not like they're thankful for it. They're appreciative of who they have become.
Mhm.
And I can say that, I mean, it's so empowering for me
Yeah.
personally
Yeah.
to have weathered that
Yeah.
at the hands of, of my dad and my mother,
And your mom.
knowing it.
Mhm.
And weathering my childhood, weathering the fact that I stood up to them, and it's like kind of probably how you were like, I did it.
Yep.
When I packed up, my mom and dad came and,
Mhm.
helped me. I had everything lined up.
Yep.
I felt and to this day, I feel like
Resilient.
I can't
Yeah.
believe that, I weathered that.
Yeah.
It was horrific at the time, but I mean,
Yeah.
I just kept doing it because truth was truth, right was
Mhm.
right. And I did not project that it was ever going to turn out, a not guilty verdict,
Yeah.
but it did. And I weathered that
Yeah.
on top of it.
Right.
So it's like the silver lining through all of that. It's me.
Mhm.
It's me. It's the powerhouse that came out of that.
Right.
So if I can ever talk to anybody that's weathering that storm at that time, to give them the tools,
Yeah.
to give them the, you can't do it. You can't take it away
No.
as much as you want to, and as much as you're hurting for somebody that's going through whatever, to give them those tools, talk with them, take that phone call.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if we can't help and be of service to mankind,
Right.
what are we doing here then?
Right.
And I know you have your position and your title,
Yeah.
but because of what I've been through, I can honestly say I have helped hundreds. And I'm not kidding.
I can imagine.
Because I kind of knew maybe perhaps what to say.
Yeah.
Because of
Mhm.
what I had to weather. But it makes me feel really, really empowered
Yeah. Well, as it
to
should.
help.
And I mean, there's something validating sounds like cold or something, but so
Mhm.
that's not the right word.
Mhm.
But when you know that it could just be a couple statements or a
Sure.
couple words
Right.
that you
Yeah.
said could
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
someone's
Yeah.
day, week,
Yeah.
life.
It's wor-
You know,
it
it's
it's
powerful.
powerful. It
It
really
is.
is.
It is,
Mhm.
and it's a way to use that um that hurt,
Yep.
for
Yep.
something
Yes.
good,
Yes.
and go like, "You can't stop me now."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
And
I've
it's
been
not
through the worst, so you
Yeah, and it
can't,
certainly isn't arrogancy. I
No.
mean, when you were explaining with, for what you had gone through, it's
Mhm.
not arrogancy. It's not like, me woman, hear me roar
Right.
type of thing. It's not. It's just a very humbling
Mhm.
confidence of weathering situations
Yeah.
and then just like letting others know that, you know what? You're not alone. Alone.
Right. Right.
You're not alone.
Right, and there will be
There's
better days.
There will be better days.
Yeah.
It could take, a long time. I'm not here to
Yeah.
sugarcoat anything. It could take a few years,
Yeah.
but
And I think
yeah.
to encourage people to accept help,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
it's not,
Mhm.
a badge of honor if you make
Mhm.
it to the other side and
Mhm.
all on your own.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
when you know there are resources
Right. Right.
available,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether that be someone at your church
Mhm.
or,
Mhm.
whatever the case, or
Mhm.
a mentor
Mhm.
like you
Mhm.
who can just
Mhm.
listen
Mhm.
and is offering
Yeah.
to be there and be a
Yeah.
sounding board, take it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And just not alone.
Yeah,
Never alone. You're never alone
right.
in life. I know we all feel that when we're going through it.
Mhm.
Why me?
Right.
Why me?
Why do I have to go through this?
Yes. What did I do?
Mhm.
Sometimes that can be a little bit of a question we ask. Um, so,
Yeah, and no one is immune. Um, this was one of the things I was gonna mention before when I was volunteer crisis advocate,
mhm.
and one of the calls I got was in the middle of the night. A pregnant woman was in the emergency room because her husband had kicked her in the stomach and
Mm,
pushed her down the
mm,
stairs. So I went in to the emergency room and was sitting with her and talking. And I found out, now granted, this is 25, 30 years ago,
mhm.
so I can say this without
Sure. Yep.
implicating
Yep.
anyone, but her husband was a professor at NDSU.
Mm.
And it stuck with me. I thought,
Oh, sure.
you mean an educated
Yep. High profile.
person
Mhm.
who has the responsibility
Mhm.
of shaping
Mhm.
minds and teaching
Mm.
others
Oh, sure.
did this to you? I
Ouch.
mean,
Yeah.
it was an eye opener for
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
and stuck with me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because it's something we talk about a lot at work too.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
violence, it doesn't know any
Right.
socioeconomic, group.
Yeah.
No one is immune.
Yes.
Nobody is immune.
Yeah.
And so,
Mhm.
yeah, that was one thing that really
Mhm.
um, shaped, I think, how I saw
Wow.
domestic violence
Yeah.
and stuff too,
Yeah.
and was another part of me choosing to,
Mhm. Mhm.
do what I do.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I just want to say how not only your title and your position, but which is your educated part of it,
mm-hmm,
is unmeasurable,
mm-hmm,
the
yeah,
knowledge that you have. But then not only do you have that, you have your own experience, which authenticates,
yeah,
like somebody saying to you, you don't know what I'm going through. You have
right,
no idea. You know,
right, right.
I
Yeah,
might a
I
little bit
know.
more than you think I do.
Yeah, and
So
I don't ever. I mean, like staff. We've
sure,
talked about it
sure.
and
Yeah.
stuff. Um, I don't think I've ever disclosed anything to a client.
Mhm.
I've heard people say
Sure.
that, or have said to me, like, you don't understand, or you just think
Right.
it's like, I don't say this out loud, but I'm like, I understand that you're
Right.
angry,
Yeah.
and I'm a very easy target
Sure.
right
Right
now.
now.
But
Mhm.
and because of that, I'm
Mhm.
gonna let you,
Mhm.
let
Mhm.
you do what you need to do. Um, but yeah, and I know that letting survivors have as much control
Mhm.
over um, over their path, whether it's choosing where they want to live, choosing what they want to
Sure.
do,
Yeah.
choosing do you want to press charges,
Mhm.
choosing,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
your journey,
Mhm. Mhm.
and so just letting, and I think that's especially important for
Mhm.
children
Mm. Oh, sure.
too,
Yeah.
because I mean, like you said, you've been robbed of
Right.
a childhood,
Mhm. Mhm.
so,
Yeah.
and as an adult coming and talking to you about it, I couldn't possibly tell you how you should handle
Right.
it.
Right. Right.
I can tell you what's available,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
so just to make sure that um, that power is
Mm.
retained, because
Mm.
that power was
Right.
what was taken,
Mhm. Yeah.
and so taking it
Yes.
back
Yes.
and
Yes.
knowing that
Yes.
you have 100% permission
Yes.
to
Yeah.
take all of your power back,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
I look back on too on when I was just first starting to, because I was married for 10, 12 years before my husband didn't know
Didn't
anything about
know.
my childhood, just
Mm.
kept that all,
Yeah.
quiet. So when I had to, there was just a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
It was really gut punching
Yeah.
emotions at that time.
I bet.
When I went to the crisis center and met with a counselor there, I remember she gave me a book that I was supposed to read. And, I was just thumbing through it while
Yeah.
I don't know what she was doing. And for the first time, I had read sexual abuse, is something about at the hands of this lady in this book's
Mm.
at the hands of her dad.
Yeah.
And it was also new to me. Sexual abuse. That wasn't I didn't talk about it, at all
Yeah.
like that. So, I didn't even really know that I was sexually abused. I didn't
Yeah.
even identify it. I think I just kind of blocked it out at the moment when I was a child, that I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
You just, you stop. I think you just stop thinking for during
Right.
that time
Yep.
when it's happening. But anyways, the counselor, she had given me a book to read, and I read that. And I remember crying. I couldn't even breathe.
Yeah.
I was crying so hard. I put my head in my lap.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it was like 10 minutes that I had my head. And while this, and I'm sure she probably knew what was probably happening, but a lot of the memories were just flooding back and I couldn't breathe. I was just, gasping for air. But what was happening is it was reliving some of it. It was all
Yeah.
coming back for the
Oof.
first time.
Yeah.
And I got up, I sat my head back up.
Yeah.
And she said, "You did it." I was like, I almost died. I almost died.
Yeah.
I can laugh about
Right,
it
right,
now.
right.
This is so horrible. It's so horrible, but like I said, it was 20 years ago, but
Yeah.
it was the processing of it. It was the reliving it back again as an adult mind, as an adult.
Yeah.
But I was back in that child again, living that situation. And,
Yeah.
it was coming back. So
Powerful.
yeah. Well, at the time, I don't remember specifically telling her I almost died, but, and it wasn't that I had forgot it.
Right. Oh, right.
It's, you just stop somehow. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah. Kind of
so
disassociating.
that would be the word. Thank you,
Yep,
Anna.
yep.
That's exactly the word. I think that's how you survive.
That's how
when it's happening.
Self-protection mode.
Yeah. You just stop,
know.
you just let it happen. And then, then you go back.
Yep.
Go back again. So I was just reliving that. So, processing it, is difficult.
It is.
Very
It can
difficult.
be, yeah, and ugly and messy and
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
crying and
Yeah.
snotty and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
And
it's
then
just
she just said, she just said, "You did it." But
yeah.
it's the truth. I did it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time, but I'm sure she knew all that stuff was coming back.
Yep.
And that's why that was the choice of words that she had said.
Yeah.
So, and I think if I wouldn't have done that and really faced it, I don't know if I would have been, as far as I am,
Mhm.
or at the
Yeah.
time. So it's just part of it. It's part of the process. It's part
Yeah.
of the healing. And it's no
Yeah, it's like
different.
you didn't choose it,
No,
but now
no, yeah.
gotta deal
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. But again, I'm going to go back to it. I look back and I say, I think that was in life, the best things that ever happened to me.
Mhm.
I didn't learn. I didn't grow.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm just trying to think of something like if I had good days,
Mhm.
they're great days. I'm thankful. I have a lot of good days,
Right.
but on the toughest days are when I did my most growth,
Mhm.
and learning
Mhm.
and things. So I appreciate it. What essentially those dark days got me
Mhm.
away from that family because I
Right.
haven't had any contact at
Right.
all with any of those,
Right.
my family for almost 20 years.
Wow.
We say hi, we're cordial, I'm respectful, and,
Wow.
but it broke me away
Right.
from them. And thank God it did,
Yeah.
because then I and my husband and our 6 children, we
Yeah.
made our own home here,
Right.
and it was our own. And
Right.
we weren't controlled by that,
Right.
that lifestyle. So when I say about that, whatever it is, the poem,
Yeah.
in a dysfunctional home, when one person in one generation stands and faces those flames
Yeah.
and stops it, you spare the generations to come.
Mhm.
So I thank God that it did happen so I could take myself away from there
Yeah.
and that family and my children.
And protect your family.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
that's why I'm thankful it did happen. Life is not there's trouble with
Every
everybody. Every
family.
family has
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
it's not like surprise, surprise. There was trouble in the family.
Right.
It's
Right.
just how many skeletons are back there that
Mhm.
you're going to open up. And the doors.
Yeah.
How you're going to deal with that. Um,
Yeah, and I remember, very naive, in high school and stuff too, and especially as a teenage girl, thinking like, she's got it all together,
right.
or she's
Yeah.
got the perfect life,
Yeah.
and fast forward and you find out,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yes.
all
Yes.
of these
Yeah.
things that were going on, or
Yeah.
various. I mean, yeah, nobody is spared, no family is perfect, and yeah, it's shocking. Um, and I was gonna mention too, just talking about child sexual abuse, because I checked before I came over here and
Mhm.
how many children we worked with
Mhm.
this year, and it was 84.
In 2025 already?
2024.
Oh, in 2024. Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm like, wow, that's more than one a week
Mm.
that is coming
Mm.
in,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
And that's only those that have reported,
Right.
you know?
Mhm.
We provide support groups in
Mhm.
elementary schools
Mhm.
and high schools. And in one of our staff doing groups last year, 3 different individuals disclosed
Mm.
to her,
Mm.
took her aside after group.
Afterwards.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah.
Felt
Yeah.
safe
Mhm.
enough to do
Mhm.
it,
Mhm.
you know?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and, one of them went to court, is done, got
Mhm.
convicted.
Mhm.
The second one I know is being prosecuted. I can't remember where that
Mhm.
stands.
Mhm.
Um, but I know I hear people in the community, when we're out and
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
talking about like, gosh, it just seems like we're hearing about,
Mhm.
child abuse and
Mhm.
child
Mhm.
sexual abuse so
Sure.
much more.
Right.
And I'm like, well, yeah,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think it's more acceptable to talk
Sure.
about.
Right.
I
I
think it's
hope.
right.
I hope.
I think it's not, when it does happen to a child, it's not a
Mhm.
life sentence
Mhm.
that your damaged goods
Right.
for the rest of your
Yeah.
life. Like,
Right.
it's okay to
Mm-hmm.
talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're seeing that there's more families where, I don't want to say like in prominent positions or
Sure.
anything like
Right.
that, where it's
Mm-hmm.
coming out,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, like you said, it spare, you know, whatever demographic it is.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the more, you sharing
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
story and everything, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes even one
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
even if it makes a mom
Mm-hmm.
say, oh,
Right.
maybe I'm,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel something in your gut,
Right.
like,
Right.
trust
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because, I know when I was growing up, a big thing was, stranger danger.
Sure.
Don't, if you're in the
Sure.
park, don't talk to him,
Mm-hmm.
don't
Sure.
just
Right.
all of that kind of stuff. And I grew up thinking like that,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
beware of the boogeyman.
Right.
And,
Right.
and the truth is,
Yeah.
it's someone
Right here.
It's
Yeah.
someone in your
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
typically. I think the statistics are like 90%
Ouch.
is it's a
Oh,
family
that's
member
terrible.
or a
Yeah.
known friend
Yeah.
of the family,
Yeah.
but someone that, the child trusts or that the
Mm-hmm.
parent trusts
Mm-hmm.
to be around the child.
There is one statistic that I remember 20 years ago here, and it's like 1 in 3 children, 1 in 3 girls will be sexually assaulted by the time they're 18.
Mhm.
Is that accurate?
I can't speak to that as far as the 18.
Okay.
I know if you narrow the age range, I think it's 1 in 4 girls
Okay.
will experience child abuse before they're 14.
Child abuse?
Yeah, child sexual abuse.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And 1 in 5 boys.
Okay.
So, I mean, but yeah, like you say, if you expand it, expand that
Sure.
age
Sure.
range,
Yeah. Okay.
it could
Sure.
be.
Yeah. For
could
some
be.
reason, I remember thinking, so for a long time, I don't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But what I had heard, it was 1 in 3 and 1 in 6. So 1 in 3 girls by the time that they turn 18, that they
Yep.
were going to, statistically, they'll be sexually assaulted
Yeah.
by a known or a non-known offender. And then 1 in 6. And I remember
Yeah.
thinking, sitting in rooms when I was still,
I
kind
know
of
what you're gonna say.
processing this,
Mhm.
like, okay, which one, who, just kind of looking around, not knowing. And somebody
Yep.
that you would think that wouldn't ever be dealing with any of this stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, not that I'm saying it could be that, it could be the
Right.
one you think it is, and it could be the one you don't think it is.
Right.
But statistically, that is horrible.
It's
1 in 3.
absolutely horrible.
Yeah. 1 in 3 girls by the time they turn 18
Yeah.
will have been assaulted sexually by a known or a non-known offender. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. No, and that would make sense because, I think hopefully teenagers, children
Mhm.
in a home
Mhm.
with a father,
Mhm.
grandfather,
Mhm.
uncle,
Right.
whatever, a little bit more vulnerable,
Oh, sure.
maybe.
Right. Yeah.
So I could see why
Yeah.
that would be 1 to 4, but then,
Sure. Yeah. And it gets older, then it goes into high school and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
remember either reading that or something,
Mhm.
and that was so it was very impactful to me at that time.
And I've done that same type of thing where you're saying, you're going through and thinking
Mhm.
which one.
Mhm.
And I've done that kind of with my core friend group
Mm.
from high
Sure.
school,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Mhm.
which one?
Mm-hmm.
Which one of
Mhm.
them?
You're right. Yeah.
And I wonder if they would talk to me
Yeah.
about
Sure.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
But, talking about that kind of older range of teenage girls, one other thing that was eye-opening with things that we heard with support groups
Mhm.
is talking to teenage girls about consent.
Mm.
And
Mm.
the response being,
Mm.
but he's my boyfriend.
Mm. Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
But you,
Mhm.
it's still your choice.
Right.
And
Right.
not understanding that one of them literally said, I can say no, but he's my boyfriend.
Mm.
Like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Which tells me
Mhm.
we got a lot of work to do.
Mhm.
But I think in some of the homes
Mhm.
too, we've got a lot of work to do.
Right.
There's maybe a few things that could be discussed. So I don't know if things like that could factor into into the
numbers.
statistics and
Sure.
stuff
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
But it just made me feel really bad.
Yeah. Well, life is, life is very, it can be very cruel.
Yeah.
At certain times.
Yeah.
For certain people. So, Anna, I want to thank you very much for doing this with me. You were vulnerable yourself, and thank you for sharing that. And I think this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Is because I think it's important to have these real feel discussions.
Yeah.
And it can be about anything, but it's real.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, if you want to act like this isn't happening in your area or your community, maybe even in your own family,
right,
I think you might want to be looking a little bit closer, because it's around here. So, and there's not a lot of people that I can sit down with and have this discussion with.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, I'm so happy. And we might, pick up again another on a.
You know where to find
Yeah.
me.
Yes. So thank you very
Thank you
much.
very
I
much.
appreciate this.
Yes.